My daughter smiled through the entire birthday dinner, but I could see the pain hiding behind her eyes. When my son-in-law laughed and told the waiter not to ask her what she wanted because she was too stupid to order for herself, the entire table went silent. His sister smiled and added that some women simply needed guidance. Everyone expected me to stay quiet like always. Instead, I calmly stood up, walked to the restroom, made one phone call, and returned with a smile. None of them realized that dinner was about to become the most unforgettable night of their lives. My name is Margaret, and I have spent most of my life believing that dignity is worth more than revenge. I raised my daughter Emily to be kind, patient, and compassionate. Those qualities made me proud for many years, but after she married Daniel, they slowly became the very things people used against her. At first, the insults were small jokes disguised as humor. Daniel corrected her grammar during conversations, interrupted her opinions, and constantly reminded everyone that he handled every important decision because Emily was too emotional. She laughed along because she wanted peace, but every forced smile broke my heart a little more. Emily insisted that marriage required compromise, and every time I expressed concern, she defended him. She explained that Daniel was under stress at work and never meant any real harm. I wanted to believe her because no mother wants to imagine her daughter living inside an emotionally controlling marriage. Still, every family gathering revealed another uncomfortable moment. Daniel never shouted. He never lost control. Instead, he slowly convinced everyone that Emily was incapable of making even the simplest decisions without his permission. Her birthday dinner was supposed to celebrate another year of her life. Daniel reserved a beautiful restaurant and invited both families. The atmosphere seemed warm until the waiter approached Emily first and politely asked what she would like to order. Before she could even open the menu, Daniel laughed loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. He said there was no point asking because she would only choose the wrong thing anyway. His younger sister burst into laughter and added that some women needed guidance if they wanted to survive adulthood. Several people laughed awkwardly while Emily lowered her eyes toward the tablecloth. I watched my daughter grip her fork so tightly that her knuckles turned white. She tried to smile even though tears were gathering in her eyes. My heart refused to let another insult pass without consequences. I quietly placed my napkin on the table, apologized for needing the restroom, and walked away. Inside the hallway, I removed my phone and made exactly one call. It lasted less than 60 seconds. I thanked the person on the other end, returned to the dining room, and sat down as though nothing had happened. Daniel looked pleased with himself and continued making jokes about how difficult life would be if he allowed Emily to think independently. His sister eagerly supported every comment while the conversation continued around them. They assumed silence meant agreement. I never noticed that I had become unusually calm. I no longer felt angry because I already knew what would happen next. About 20 minutes later, the restaurant manager walked directly toward our table. Daniel smiled confidently, assuming someone important wanted to greet him. Instead, the manager politely asked whether he could step outside for a private conversation regarding an urgent business matter. Daniel frowned but followed him without hesitation. Through the restaurant windows, everyone could see two professionally dressed investigators waiting beside a black vehicle. The entire table became restless as Daniel remained outside longer than expected. Emily looked confused while his parents exchanged nervous glances. Eventually, Daniel returned looking pale and unable to meet anyone's eyes. The confidence that had filled the room only minutes earlier had completely disappeared. He quietly sat down without saying a single word. His father demanded to know what had happened. Daniel hesitated before admitting that his company had launched an internal fraud investigation that afternoon. Financial records connected him to unauthorized transfers involving company funds. The investigators had chosen to meet him discreetly because someone informed them exactly where he would be that evening. The room instantly fell silent. His sister suddenly stopped smiling. Daniel accused the investigators of embarrassing him, but the manager calmly explained they had intentionally handled the situation privately to avoid creating a public scene. Ironically, Daniel had spent the entire evening humiliating another person in front of strangers while expecting dignity for himself. Emily slowly looked toward me with confusion. She quietly asked whether I knew anything about what had happened. I gently explained that several weeks earlier, one of my longtime friends had mentioned suspicious financial activity involving Daniel's department. That friend happened to be a senior legal consultant hired by the company during the investigation. When Daniel publicly humiliated Emily, I simply informed my friend that he was available for questioning at that exact location. Nothing more. I did not create the investigation. I only helped the truth find him a little sooner. Daniel exploded with anger and accused me of ruining his life. Before I could answer, Emily surprised everyone. She calmly stood from her chair and looked directly into his eyes. She explained that his own actions had ruined his reputation long before my phone call. The investigation had nothing to do with her. His insults had nothing to do with love. For years he had convinced her she deserved disrespect. That illusion ended tonight. Emily removed her wedding ring and placed it beside his untouched dinner plate. She thanked me for reminding her that silence should never be mistaken for weakness. The restaurant remained completely quiet as she walked toward the exit. This time, she did not cry. She walked with confidence I had not seen since before her marriage. Weeks later, Daniel officially lost both his position and his marriage after the investigation uncovered serious misconduct. Emily rebuilt her life with remarkable strength. She returned to university, started her own consulting business, and slowly rediscovered the confident woman she had always been before someone convinced her she was not enough. Sometimes, people believe kindness means accepting humiliation forever. They confuse patience with weakness and silence with surrender. What they fail to understand is that respect has limits, and the moment those limits are crossed, karma rarely arrives with loud words. Sometimes it arrives quietly through a single phone call, exposing truths that were already waiting to be discovered. That birthday dinner was never really about revenge. It became the night my daughter finally remembered her worth, and the night everyone else learned that the strongest people often speak the least until the exact moment it matters most. If someone truly loves you, they will never make you feel small just to make themselves feel important. Respect is not a gift that only some people deserve. It is the foundation of every healthy relationship. That night, I did not destroy a family. I simply refused to let my daughter believe she deserved less than dignity ever again. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Assembly Battery All Stories for more emotional family drama and powerful karma stories every week. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this story. See you in the next video.